Hey up everyone, welcome to the video. Hope you're all well. Tonight I'll be reviewing the match that's just finished between South Sydney and Parramatta. The match was played at Stadium Australia. Both sides coming off losses last week. South Sydney are a bogey team for Parramatta. It was always going to be a danger game. And the match started off with South Sydney right on the front foot. They were running with intent, running hard. They were playing like a team that really wanted to make amends for what happened last week. And in the second minute, after a Clint Gutherson mistake, Damien Cook scores a very, very easy try from the scrum. Paolo and Pat Pali fell asleep and Cook scores next to the uprights there. And then in the 8th minute, Alex Johnston scores down the left-hand side of the field. It was a bread and butter play. It was just catch and pass, and Johnston scores. At this point, Parramatta had only touched the ball once through that Gutherson mistake. I think we only had one other set, and that was it. Once we finally got our hands on the ball, we managed to score in the 16th minute through Clint Gutherson. It was an interesting kick over the top by Jacob Arthur, Brad Arthur's son, but the ball just sat up perfectly. It was a room service bounce of a ball, and Clint Gutherson scores to put us back into the game, 10 points to 6. And then one of the turning points of the game happened. South Sydney make a break down the field. Isaiah Papali'i makes a tackle, but he held on too long. He was sent to the sin bin for a professional foul. And in the coming minutes, Alex Johnston scores his second try of the game. Once again, just another basic left-hand side play. Once again, Opacek and Ferguson fall for it. They jam in and Johnston scores. And then right before half-time, Dean Gagai scores a try. And it makes it 20 points to 6 at half-time. The game wasn't over by any means, but certainly Parramatta had to come out with a different sort of an attitude in the second half, where it was going to be more of the same. If I was Brad Arthur myself, I would have taken Tom Opacek off the field. I would have said, right, you're off. I would have put the car in the centre to partner Ferguson. I would have kept Wonga Blake where he was. For some reason, South Sydney didn't even go down Wonga Blake's side of the field in that first half. In the second half, South Sydney score another try off the scrum. This time it's Dean Gagai, he scores. And then Ryan Mattison's put in the sin bin for it was very strange. I mean, South Sydney made a break down the field, they lost the ball, and then the referee marched everyone all the way back up to the halfway line and said, right, Ryan, come here, 10 in the bin, high tackle. And then from that, Alex Johnston scores another try, exactly the same as the other two tries, just catch and pass down the left-hand side of the field. Then we hit back. It seemed like when the game was out of reach, that's when Parramatta actually started to play and throw the ball around a bit. Moses puts up the high kick. Tony Milne drops the ball, and then it goes through the hands. Wonga Blake sort of passes the ball off the ground. Isaiah Papali'i, he looked like a winger scoring this try. He did like a forward roll and everything, and puts the ball down. Gagai scores another try after that to make it 38 points in their favour to I think at that stage it was 14 or 16. And then we score another try. Once again, it seemed like once the game was impossible for us to come back, it seemed like Parramatta went, okay, we'll start throwing the ball around, we'll start running a bit harder, we'll start playing with a bit of intent. In the last 10 minutes or so, it was kind of like watching West Tigers from 2005. Parramatta were throwing the ball around like it was a basketball game. Sivo scored a good try. I think he had plenty of work to do, and he took Campbell Green and Latrell Mitchell over the line with him, and he puts the ball down. And then right before the end of the game, Latrell Mitchell was defending in the line for some reason. Jacob Arthur says, right, I'm just going to kick over the top and score, and he just did a little daft kick over the top of the South Sydney line, and there was nobody back there, and Jacob Arthur scored a try. It made the full-time scoreline a bit more respectable. 38 points to 20. It was the full-time score. Once again, like last week, nearly all the tries that South Sydney scored, all the tries that Manly scored last week were all on that one side of the field. It was strange that they didn't go to Wong Oblique's side of the field at all. They went to Ferguson's side of the field, and every single time it was just catch and pass, and it was just the same thing over and over again. It was just a mirror image of every try that South Sydney scored. It was just Cody Walker passes it to Gagai passes it to Johnston. Ferguson rushes up and Opacek rushes up and jams in. Try. It just seemed like a copy and paste constantly, and I don't know, with Tom Opacek, with Blake Ferguson, I think personally that's the worst game I've ever seen Tom Opacek play in the Parramatta shirt. He was awful. Missed tackles, defensive reads were very poor. Blake Ferguson, I think this was probably in his top 3 worst Parramatta games he's played. He was awful tonight, dreadful. Who can I see playing well for Parramatta tonight? Nobody really. I don't think anyone can put their hand up and say that they had a good game. The only forward that run over 100 metres was Nathan Brown. And it was kind of frustrating towards the end of that game that, as I said earlier in the video, that it seemed once the game was out of reach for Parramatta that they actually wanted to start playing. Positives from the match, at least it wasn't 50, at least. Statistically we can still win the premiership or be up there, because at one stage there it looked like South Sydney were going to put on 50 or 60, but I guess that's probably the positive I'm going to take out of this game. It wasn't 50, and we've got a lot of work to do in defence. Surely Nakora has to go back and partner Ferguson on that side of the field. I'm not too sure where Wong Oblique and Tom Opacek stand. Our next game is against Newcastle, which is probably one of our ultimate bogey sides. So we've got to be right into that. Otherwise, it's going to be more of the same. Manly have worked out our weakness. South Sydney have worked out our weakness. I bet you all the other clubs at home watching on the telly they're all rubbing their hands together, going, "Oh, all we have to do is go to Blake Ferguson and Wong Oblique's side of the field, and we'll be sound as a pound." But anyway, that's my review of the game that just finished between South Sydney and Parramatta. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, this is Rugby League History signing off, and my next video will be on Monday for the round 13 tips. Alright, tatty bye now.